Hi, I'm James from Portainer, and in this video I'm going to talk about the new features in version 2.21 of Portainer. As 2.21 is our first LTS release, I'll first talk a bit about that and what it means. Then I'll show you some of the changes 2.21 brings in from 2.20. This release includes a change to our menu structure in some areas to improve usability. We've also made more performance adjustments to Portainer that we hope will improve your experience. The first iteration of support for log shipping of the Portainer activity and authentication logs is in this version, configurable through CLI options. We've also extended our new image indicator feature to include on-demand rechecks of image statuses from the UI. In the Kubernetes space, we've added more object types that can be managed through Portainer, as well as adding admin-only secret viewing as an option. We've also added support for newer Kubernetes versions, in particular in our Kubernetes as a service feature and our cluster creation tools. Helm support has been improved and has moved into the application system, and we've added more options around scaling your applications and disabling stack functionality for Kubernetes. For our Edge users, we're introducing Edge templates in this release for use with Edge stacks. We've also created a new Edge administrator role for better control over access to resources. I'll cover all of that in this video, and of course I'll tell you how you can upgrade to 2.21. 2.21 is our first long-term support, or LTS, release of Portainer. LTS releases are meant to be production-ready versions that you can safely run on your mission-critical infrastructure. Generally, LTS releases won't have any new features as compared to the short-term support, or STS, releases that came before, in this case 2.20, but it'll be focused on making sure those features are rock solid. You can read more about our new release principles in our CEO Neil's blog post. There's a link in the video description. So for those of you that are already running 2.20, a lot of this will be old news, but for those coming from 2.19, there's a lot to cover. The first change you're likely to notice in 2.21 is an update to the menu structure within Portainer. In order to streamline the user experience for people who are new to containerization, as well as those more experienced, we've updated the names of some menu items, moved others into new subsections, and generally made it easier to understand where to find the functionality you're after. You'll notice this more for Kubernetes environments, but it applies to Portainer as a whole as well. We're continuing to work to improve the performance of Portainer in this release. Along with the updated menu structure, we've added additional caching to improve page load times, as well as moved more of our pages and page components to the React framework. We've also added more background population of page contents so that rendering the crucial information comes first, with additional longer to retrieve information being loaded asynchronously. When deploying Portainer within your organization, you might want, or have compliancy requirements, to ship your log files to an external log aggregator. In 2.21 BE, we've added the ability to push Portainer's activity and authentication logs in syslog format to an external security, information and event management, or SIEM system, without having to write a custom wrapper around the Portainer API. At the moment, this is an experimental feature and can be configured with CLI options, but we're intending to expand this feature further in the future based on customer feedback. Our new image indicator feature has been quite popular since we released it way back in 2.14, and we've made a few adjustments to it over the releases since. In 2.21, we've added in buttons on the containers, stacks and services list pages, as well as the details page for each, that'll do an on-demand reload of the image status for the page that you're on. Image indicators are cached for 24 hours after they are loaded for performance reasons, but with these buttons, you can force a check whenever you need one. We've expanded the types of Kubernetes objects you can list and manage through Portainer in 2.21. In this version, you'll see new pages for service accounts, cluster roles and cluster role bindings, and roles and role bindings under the new More Resources menu item. As a cluster administrator, you may want to restrict the viewing and editing of secrets within the cluster to administrator users. In 2.21, we've added a toggle that allows you to do just that. It's worth noting that because of limitations within Kubernetes itself, this feature does not hide secrets from viewing through other tools outside of Portainer. 2.21 brings improved support for new versions of Kubernetes to Portainer. We now support deploying to Kubernetes 1.30 environments in all cases, including through our supported cloud providers in our Kubernetes as a service feature, as well as our Kubernetes cluster creation tools for on-premise infrastructure. As part of our menu restructuring and general usability improvements, in 2.21 we moved the Helm functionality for Kubernetes environments into the application system proper, rather than the separate system we had before. You can now provision applications from Helm charts via the standard Create from Manifest option under Applications, and Helm deployments will appear in the Applications list alongside other non-Helm deployments. We've also made some improvements to how you can configure and manage your Helm chart repositories within Portainer. Docker Swarm users have for a long time been able to scale their services to zero, but this wasn't possible in Portainer for Kubernetes deployments. With 2.21, now it is. Scaling a deployment to zero replicas will result in the deployment being stopped, and you can then scale it back up at a later date to start it again. When deploying an application on Kubernetes, we provide the ability to define a stack that your deployment belongs to, which can be useful for grouping deployments. However, this functionality may not always be ideal for everyone's workflow, so in 2.21 we've added the option to disable stack functionality for Kubernetes environments. Template functionality has existed in Portainer for non-edge environments for quite a while, and in 2.21 we're bringing that functionality to edge stacks. With Edge Compute enabled, you'll find a new Edge Templates option in the left-hand menu. Here you can deploy an edge stack from our pre-provided templates, or create and manage your own custom edge stack templates for your applications. Edge templates support the same functionality as our non-edge templates, including variables and Git repository deployments, and can also be deployed from the Create Edge Stack page. 2.21 also introduces a new Edge Administrator role for Edge Compute users. This role lets you give users full control over resources in Edge environments without giving them full administrative access to all of Portainer. As we do with every release, we've updated the versions of the third-party binaries and libraries that we use within Portainer to newer versions. This resolves a number of reported CVEs, as well as providing improved performance and functionality in some cases. These are the big features and changes in 2.21, but there's also a ton of other changes and fixes in this release. Have a look at our release notes for the full list of changes. If you're doing a fresh install of Portainer on a production environment, I'd recommend working through our best practice install guide in the Portainer Academy at academy.portainer.io. This will guide you through what you need to run Portainer, how to install it, as well as what we'd recommend for production setups. For a quicker setup process, you can use our documentation at docs.portainer.io. Upgrade guides for both CE and BE are also available in our documentation, as well as instructions for upgrading from CE to BE. Thanks for watching. I hope I've been able to show you some of the new features and updates in Portainer 2.21. If you do have any questions, need help, or would like more information on anything I've talked about here, please check out our documentation, join our community support channels, or get in touch with us directly.